You are worthy of my grace.
Gay!
Oh boy, Netflix, we gotta talk about that one. It's been a few years, but it's time. I'm not even angry anymore. Just show up to my office and we can discuss this like civil people. You know, one individual to megacorp. No power imbalance there whatsoever. Anyway, I'm going to get deeply personal right about now. I remember watching Evangelion when I was maybe 7 for the first time. I know this because I watched it in my first home. I very strongly remember sitting on a green couch that had a ripped armrest well after my bedtime. I didn't understand then how important Evangelion would be to me. I couldn't understand how strongly I would carry that anime in my heart. We moved to the new place right before the financial crash of 2008. And let me be honest, it was bad. Holy shit, was it bad. I mean, it was bad for you guys in the West, but in a third world country, right, with political uncertainty and an upcoming election, yeah, no, that shit was fucked. It was terrible. It was horrifying. It was scarring. The events that happened were on the news cycle. You may have seen it. Maybe you heard about the political violence. It doesn't really matter if you don't remember, because I do. I lived through it, and I saw what the years afterwards brought. The violence, broken families fleeing across the border, dictatorship, people dying of starvation, poverty, the sheer hopelessness infecting every inch of your life, till the point that even children spent their lunch breaks talking about politics because there was nothing else to possibly talk about. And through all of that, I had these memories of Evangelion, a show I'd watched at 11 PM almost religiously back when things were still decent. Decent, not good. I didn't understand the plot of Neon Genesis Evangelion back then. I probably couldn't even say the title. I was 7, maybe 6. Things get murky with distance. I don't fully remember that time, but I do remember Neon Genesis Evangelion. I find it funny that grown adults spent 20 years only to realize it was never about the plot. I realized that on my first watch. Watching Eva through a child's eyes let me filter past the technobabble and religious imagery and settle upon the truth that was right in front of us. The characters. Their relationships. And their failings. And their few moments of grace. Years later, and I feel the need to reiterate this as just another voice amongst the masses, long after everyone is done caring. The dub change might be more accurate to the original Japanese, but it is an insult to the story every fan experienced the first time round. It is an insult to the story that I experienced. I love you. There is nothing unambiguous about that. And some of y'all are really gonna say that two guys holding hands in the shower are just roommates and then they slept together in the same room and y'all still gonna call them roommates? Yeah, okay. Y'all gonna say that wasn't love? Okay. Really? That shit was gay as fuck. But that's kind of besides the point. After the sheer horror and cruelty of the past 23 episodes, after all that Shinji and we, the audience, have been put through, Kaworu shows up. The image is so seared in my mind that I can't ever forget it. The ruins of a city, an amber sea, a shattered statue of an angel, and upon it was the savior we didn't know we needed. Their relationship lasts all of an episode. One single episode. And yet, it follows Shinji to the end of the world. It isn't Rei or Asuka or Misato that bring him comfort in the end. Kaworu does. When I was young, it was a revolutionary kind of love. This might sound ridiculous to you listening to this now, but when you grow up with your every neighbor and friend and teacher and leader decrying the abomination of the homosexual, you tend to internalize a few things. Even at 7, had you said that word, I would have recoiled away from you and insulted you. And then came that one episode of Evangelion. Kaworu's love was selfless. It was kind and it was freeing and it was uplifting. It ended in tragedy and maybe the beginning wasn't a coincidence, but the moments in between were real and I felt them and I knew that something was wrong. I didn't know if there was something wrong with me or something wrong with the society I lived in, but I knew it couldn't be Kaworu and Shinji, because that love gave me faith when I was 7. It gave me faith when I was 11 and on the ledge. It gave me hope every time I was certain I was done. Depression is insidious and it is cruel and it has no interest in age. It does not discriminate, it shows no mercy, and it is utterly relentless in its pursuit of everything good in life. I don't say it lightly when I say that Evangelion saved my life. Evangelion is just a show, but that doesn't make it any less real. If it wasn't real, why would it inspire such emotion in people for decades to come? I won't talk about the Rebuild movies in depth. You've probably watched a dozen videos on them by now, and all I'll say now is that Thrice Upon a Time was one of the most cathartic movies I've watched in perhaps my entire lifetime, because it addressed feelings I'd unknowingly carried for these characters my entire life. It treated the characters with respect, and it treated me with respect. Kaworu's love for Shinji is cosmic. It transcends time and it transcends space. You could very well say they're star-crossed lovers. That's what the poster of the third Rebuild movie implied and what Thrice Upon a Time proved. I'll be honest, a part of me was happy that the universe acknowledged the importance of that love even if the rest of me knew it could only end in tragedy. And it did. The details may have been different, but the story was the same. The third Rebuild movie ended Kaworu's story in the same way it did 19 years prior. But like the savior he is, he popped up once more. Thrice Upon a Time did something I didn't think it could do. It did something I couldn't even conceptualize before I watched it. Thrice Upon a Time addressed the very meaning of their love. Kaworu loved Shinji. He would do anything for Shinji. He would go through endless repetitions of a futile cycle for Shinji, all in the name of his happiness. Because if Shinji could be happy, then so too could Kaworu. Except it doesn't work like that. Another person's happiness can't bring you happiness. At least, not entirely. There was nothing else to Kaworu but his love for Shinji. He was defined by it so entirely that I don't even think he loved music, so much as he loved something else that Shinji himself loved. Maybe there was a time where his love was kind and freeing and compassionate. Maybe that was the version of the original anime. Maybe that was one of the many timelines he's lived and one of the few we've seen depicted. Maybe. Who knows and who cares? All that matters is how terrible that love truly was. I didn't know what the answer was when I was confronted by Shinji's declaration. I didn't know if I was happy that Kaworu walked away from it all. Their love had been a part of my life for so long that I was losing a part of myself when Kaworu walked away. The more I've thought about it, the more I realized there couldn't be any other ending. Kaworu wasn't a person by the Rebuild timeline. He was a concept of parasitic and smothering love. There was no hope left in that love except to do it again and again and again after messy endings that led nowhere. And Kaworu did not deserve that. He deserved his own freedom and he deserved to find himself. He deserved a chance to stop sacrificing himself. He deserved to be on the other end of that selfless and kind and uplifting love that was depicted in a single episode. In the end, he was worthy of grace. I love that line these days. It is such a gloriously stupid line and I unironically say it to people now. It's an in-joke and it's a meme and I say it with utter sincerity. I was angry for a long time about the dub change. I refused it and I mocked it. I'm a bit older now and a bit more comfortable with myself, and I've come to see the earnestness of that change. I think, in a way, it was prophetic of what was to come. Or maybe I'm just far too attached to these animated idiots. Either way, you are worthy of my grace. However little grace I possess, you are worthy of it. No homo.